my mother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Basically what's happening here, we've got a little timer, a 5-minute timer, and we were going to ask you to just take 5 minutes and share your thoughts with us.
Okay.
And when you're done, we'll let you know. And then we were going to ask you to get your picture made.
I got my picture.
Get your picture made. All right, awesome. You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, just share your.
Okay, first of all, my name is George Kalilikane. I was born and raised on the west side of Oahu, right outside of Alani, which is one of the places that I spent a lot of time swimming, surfing, diving, stuff like that. My belief is that we all have a gift that if we chose to, and to give that gift away in a loving, compassionate way, mixed in with maybe a little bit of aloha, we can make a difference in the world. And this is how I came to have my gift. My gift was given to me by God because of the fact that I was having challenges with my health. 3 years ago, I had been finished with being daddy. I spent 20, 25 years of being daddy. In that process, I probably added about 100 pounds to my body. Kids went off to the Air Force. We had a couple of foster kids that also went to their parents. Time came available. Time for me is, I work 4 days, I get 4 days off. Yeah, so I made a decision, I consciously decided to get exercise. First, because the doctor said. Second, because my wife told me that in the middle of the night, because of my weight, I had sleep apnea. I would stop breathing. Yeah. One of the images that came to my mind as soon as the doctor said you're lined up to be a diabetic was the image of my Uncle Louis. Uncle Louis lived next to us. Fisherman, waterman, spent a lot of time in the ocean. And then one day his kid, who was a carpenter, started building this ramp. And when I seen that ramp, I was concerned because the challenge that I have and we have as Hawaiians in our area is that we refuse to acknowledge the challenges with being a diabetic. So slowly but surely, Uncle Louis lost limbs, and therefore he needed a ramp to get up to the porch and into the house. And I would go to work, come home, go to the beach, go do something, and Uncle Louis would be sitting on that porch waving at everyone. And I just couldn't see myself watching life go by. No porch. So I decided to exercise. And the exercise that I found that fit me because I grew up in the water near the beach was stand-up paddling. After I got my first board, I paddled around the block, having challenges, getting to the wave. Because my goal was to be like a young kid again. The young kid that used to ride his bike to the beach with his surfboard under his arm and go ride a wave. I wasn't interested in standing on the board in the middle of the bay and just paddling around. I needed to get to the wave, but I knew that a paddleboard would give me the equipment, the physical equipment, big enough to get me the wave with the leverage on paddle. I didn't think these little hands could paddle 300 pounds onto a wave. So I decided I would get into paddleboarding. After I bought my first board, I realized the board was too small to get me to the wave. I went to what they call product demo, but they'll come to the beach, they'll audit boards, give you a lesson, and hope that you buy the board. I said, man, based on my body, based on my ability, I need the biggest board. I jumped on that biggest board I got, paddled across the bay, I got to the open ocean. I was so excited because I was still standing. I said, man, I need this board. As soon as I turned around and started paddling back and I looked to the shore and the guy that was giving me the lesson had his board on the side, I realized that, man, when I get home, I gotta go over there and rub Connie's back the right way because that board that I wanted was $1,400. So I went home, I gave Connie the whole story out. Man, when I get in shape, I'm gonna be like this young man that you married and all these things are gonna be good. And I proceeded to go paddleboarding. We purchased the board. Because of my work schedule, I was spending a lot of time at the bay. Paddle, eating apples, watching my weight, getting my weight down. It took me about 3 months to lose 30 pounds. At that time, I went to the doctor. I said, doctor, how am I doing? He said, you're doing good. What are you doing? I said, I'm doing paddleboarding as much as I can. He said, keep it up. You're doing great. In the same time frame, because I'm one of the elders in my church, I was going to do the discipleship class. Yeah, I said, you got to make disciples. I said, well, I'm not going to Indonesia to make disciples. I'm Hawaiian. He said, well, you can do them wherever you at. I had 2 boards. I thought if I went to Poke Bay, put my board on the sand, and proceeded to give anybody who was interested that walked by a lesson, I would have him I would be able to give away that gift that God gave me. The gift of stand-up paddling would extend my life to I don't know how many years, but a bunch more than it would have been if I continued on that path. So I treated stand-up paddling as a gift, and I proceeded to give away lessons 3 years ago. On another side. Just recently, I surpassed 2,700 people that came to the Bay, heard my story on how I gave them away lessons for God's glory. Therefore, I assume, because Pokai Bay is so far out of the main track of whatever, Waikiki, everything, that person came to me and said, "Are you Uncle George? I heard that you give stand-up lessons, that they are God sent." So I treated them that way. I gave them all the knowledge, information. I gave them the skill, the equipment to get on the water to an environment that God created. And in doing that, I think by getting into that kind of environment, we get separated from our normal routine. And in doing that, we can reflect on our lives better so that we can be a better me. I became a better husband because I paddled and spent quiet time on the water. I became a better dad, a better Uncle George because of that situation. And I wanted to give anybody that asked, that came up, "Uncle George, I want to learn how to paddleboard and I want to get on the water," that opportunity. So that on the hopes when they got home, their attitude was just, "You never keep the dog." And that was the kind of the mindset that I could bless people with this opportunity, one perspective of standing on the water and being above on creation that God created. And in doing that, we could create fellowship on shore, and I could spend some time with them on the hopes that I would find out their challenges. And as I had opportunity driving home from the beach, I would pray for that individual. I have 6 minutes, but I can keep talking.
Thank you very much, George. We appreciate you sharing your story. It sounds very inspiring. So it sounds like
It's
you've helped
out
a
of
lot of
box.
people, 2,700 lessons over how much period of time?
I said 3 years, but actually in October it'll be 3 years.
My goodness, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I went from 2 boards to I have a trailer, and a lot of people mistake me as a business because it looks and runs like a business.
Yeah.
But as you get into numbers with anything, you got to be more efficient. And then for the local people, what I wanted to provide is because $1,400, your typical homeless kid that lives on a block never ever had that. But if I work with an organization that went and picked them up, bring them to the beach, and we work together and got these homeless kids on the water, how cool is that? Or even, at one time I always had a question about the homeless guy that sits under the tree at the beach, sleeps there. Why would I want to teach him when he came and asked? Well, if I taught him how to stand up, he realized the value of being on the water, and he would get a job to get on board first, find out that he had an opportunity to get money to pay for a house or rent. I started the process. It's about getting people excited about what they can do with their lives because you had this gift, whether it's counting, diving, fishing, whatever it is, and you can give that away in such a way that it motivates them to do something with their lives.
That's awesome. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
So that's my story.
All right.
Thanks for your time.
You bet. You got your